Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome in the room. Hello, Linda. Where are you from? Can you drop in the chat where you are tuning in from? Welcome, welcome in the room. We'll get started shortly. If you could just drop in from Nashville. Oh, Nashville, Tennessee. How's the weather over there? Oh, a bit of stormy. Okay. The storms are coming back. Oh no. All right, all right. So we'll get started shortly. Just relax and just enjoy, just relax. I know it's evening. It's a Thursday weekday evening, so I appreciate you being in the room. We'll go ahead and get started shortly. And Linda, we'll have recordings of this meeting. So you will have this meeting is being recorded. So you would have a recording at the end of this meeting because I think you're trying to take notes. You're going to have a full recording of it. So don't worry about that. Just wait for more people to join. You're welcome. Right, it is 7 o'clock, and so we are going to get started. And as more people join in the room, thanks for coming for this virtual hangout. Like I said, I know it's a weekday, but I just, since the AI summit, I just wanted to see if we can have that. So welcome in the room, Grace. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're going to go ahead and get started pretty soon. All right, welcome in the room. So if you're in this room, and like I said, this meeting is being recorded. So if you want to, catch back up in terms of it, you can come back and have this recording if you want to see it. So if you're not able to, join it, I mean, if you're not able to, in terms of like for those who are not able to join, this recording will be available. So if you're in this room, this was based off of the AI Summit that was this past week, and I really appreciate you downloading my freebie for the AI Summit and also looking at my presentations for the Built to Run presentation. So I really appreciate that for being in the room and also coming for this hangout. So tonight is just like I said, I don't want to do any slides. I just want to make this, like a hangout where we can just, interact. Maybe we can, look at a bottleneck that may be in your business that we can help. Just so like, just in terms of, because I know when I did the presentation on Saturday, I went over like a bottleneck that was in my podcast where it depended on me for everything. So let me ask this question. Is there something in your business that if you were not there, it would just stop. Like it depends on you. I don't know if you could drop it in the chat. If there's like something in your business you can think about that if you were out of it, it stops. Is there something you could think about? I know for me, I know the example that I gave was one of my business was the cleaning business. It stopped. It just stopped. Like in terms of like when I had lost my mom, it had stopped being able to upload content. Oh, that's a big one. Upload content with social media. I know that that's a major one, Grace. Is there anything else in terms of just in workflow? If it stops, it just you're the bottle like it's a bottleneck in terms of like if you're not in it. So how about like in terms of so for me, like I said, it was like, answering calls, like scheduling clients. If it was just the different things in the business that depended on me to do everything. The example I gave was, like I said, the podcast was it depended on me, like once the forms were filled out, it depended on me to send emails and all of that stuff. What are those are they repeated tasks that you have that you know will be, like a task? And welcome, Sophia. Welcome. So, Sophia, welcome into the room. So, we just got started with, if you want to drop where you're tuning in from. And what we're just doing, like I was just saying in the beginning, is I wanted this to be, I'm not doing any slides or any demos. I just wanted this to be just a casual hangout spot. And we're just going to just go into what is it in your business that you can think of that is a bottleneck in your business. I was giving examples, like I said in the podcast, it was just things that were dependent on me, even with my cleaning business. And there were just certain things that that you were the bottleneck of your business. So can we identify anything? You want to drop it in the chat? So we want to create businesses that while we're sleeping, we don't have to worry about things. It's just running. So I think Grace put in the chat, she said it was uploading content. Okay, no problem, Linda. So Grace, was there anybody else think of like anything that can be a bottleneck in the business? We can make this so that way we can solve problems in here and just go through live. Like I said, I didn't want to do any slides of demoing. Let's go into, I want to be more about action of just like things we could just, talk about and we can this thing. So let's talk about the one you put in here, Grace. You talked about um content. So being able to upload content. So with that, with some of these AI tools, like let's say you wanted to upload content a lot, like in terms of like more regularly, did you know first you can, as you train your ChatGPT or whatever model that you use, whether it be Claude or any of these AI automations, you can ask it like, hey, based on what you know about my business. Can you create like maybe content for the next 60 days or 30 days? It can then create that content for you. And then not just even doing that, did you know then you could then use a tool to schedule those contents so you can have that ahead of time. So instead of you like you just maybe sit down just one day, map it out, schedule it out, and then you could just sit down step by step one day, go through each of those contents and then schedule them. So that way you're not having to wait. You're not having to, say, oh, I don't want to do it constantly, like I have to do it today. You can schedule ahead of time. So let's say for 30 months, and this is a strategy, is for 30 days, you had your content scheduled out for the month of March that we're in. And then you can now use another day, schedule it for the month of April. So now you have everything now on a schedule with uploading content. Now that's running without you. At least you don't have to worry about, okay, I'm going to upload content. So does that help, Grace? All right. So and then Linda, you said automation. Okay. In terms of automation, can you give me and welcome in, Paul. I see you. Hey, Paul, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for having your camera on. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And so, Paul, we were just talking about, like I said, welcome. So you must have heard me on the AI Summit. I appreciate you, for listening in. So what we're doing is, like I said, I'm not doing any slides. I'm not doing any demos. We're just going to be talking about, like, based on from my last summit in terms of the workflow I went through for my build to run. We're going to go over like what's the bottleneck in your business. So far, I had Grace. She talked about she had problem with podcast. And so I told her, I said, with the podcast, we just went through the strategy of with the podcast, she can ask her LLM, whether it be ChatGPT, whether it be Claude or whatever, you use, train that business in terms of knowing your business, and then you can then ask your business, hey, can you give me content for the next 30 days for my Instagram or whatever platform that you would use. And then after that you get the content, you can schedule those contents so that way she's not having to do that every day. She can then schedule out for the next 30 days, so that way for the next 30 days she's all you just have to do is just maybe sit for one day and then you just schedule it out. So that's just a strategy that we're just talking about. And then, Sophia, you were talking about automation. Can you be specific in terms of like with automation? Because there's so many, is there like a specific thing you can give? You said automation. I'm not sure if or like email automation. Okay. So with email automation, I don't know if there's like a repeat. So I don't know if you remember the example I gave with my podcast with the email automation. So with that workflow, I don't know if you remember when I had presented, I said the issue was when the manual process is when I filled out the Google form, I then had to manually send emails after that. But with the final process that I had after that is I don't know if you're familiar with Go High Level or Grow Hub, like that may have been used. You can do automations or workflows in that where you're able to create it where once the form was submitted, it automatically sends that email. So you can do that with automations in your like with a Go High Level type CRM. So that's a way in terms of like just strategizing to do like with automations for emails. So you can create like an automation that yes, Grow Hub. So you can do if you have Grow Hub, you could do workflow automations with that. So in are you familiar with I think in the link with workflows in Grow Hub? Okay. So once you get familiar with it, that's where that can, man, it's so easy. You can, and I think it even has now like an AI feature in there where you can even ask it what it wants, and then you can say whatever automation of email that you want to do. So that's like if email automation, you have the right tool to do it. You just have to go into the automation section and then go through that workflow. And like I said, Growth Hub, which is like a white label of Go High Level, they now have an automation where you're able to then do that workflow. No problem, no problem. So, like I said, today we're casual. We're looking at actual bottlenecks that we have in our business. That was us that we have. Is there any other issues that we could think about? But I like this. We've talked about, social media. We've talked about email automations. I like it in terms of that. Paul, did you have anything?
I guess, like, one of the, I don't know if you mentioned this before, with the reviews. Like, when I have my guys out there, doing after we're done, I think me and you were talking about kind of like a process. We didn't get enough time. I didn't know if you want to expand on, how to do the reviews for the business when people are done with the
Oh,
job or something like that.
oh, for a job. Okay. So like a workflow for like a job. Okay. So with the workflow for a job, that's like pretty easy. So you can have again that's automation. So like once the job, you can set your workflow in terms of like, okay, once this job is complete, you're going to do that workflow in Go High Level to say, hey, once this is complete, you're going to go workflow, it closes. That's what I'm saying. Those workflows and things, it does it for you. So then once it's closed, it automatically now sends the review of, and that review can be like a form or a template in Go High Level. And then you can then say automatically send it to the customer after each job. That's it.
But typically, I mean, do you how do you set that up? I mean, what's the basics like? What how do you set that up? Like in terms of like, do I know you were talking about email, but how do I what link do I use and stuff like that?
What link do you use in terms of like for the to send to the customer? Is that what?
Yes.
So that's the link will be a form that you can do in Go High Level for that, or you can be like an embedded form in your. It's several ways to do it. It could be like a form in your website that could probably that's probably not visible, or you could just have it as a form. So that way you can have it because in Go High Level you can send it as a link as a form to do that. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, these are good. I like this. Any more like bottlenecks that we can do or just go over in terms of the bottleneck? One example and that I can give is another thing is with my cleaning business because I know I gave the story of just like with the cleaning business, which was one, honestly, that business burnt me out and depended on me for everything, was the answering service. Because with cleaning businesses, what do people get is answering and scheduling. Because before in the cleaning business, I'll give an example is I would answer and because at the time, I mean, I was still working. I mean, still working, excuse me, 9 to 5. And then, I was running the cleaning business as well. So like when calls, like I'm in a meeting, at work and a call will come in, that's like a missed call. And, usually if people are calling, it's like they're ready to book a cleaning. So with the cleaning business, what could have solved that would be like I don't know if you all know that we have like special agents, like AI special agents that can actually answer the phone call for you. Not only can they answer the phone call for you, they can book the phone call for you. So you can look at the schedule. And that's, I won't go into details. I'm just showing in terms of just how that can run without you. So while I'm, answering a call on a meeting, no missed calls are getting missed from my customers anymore. You're able to train your agents in terms of like certain things, like because it's usually typical, and this can be for like any service-based business. This could be a cleaning business or a dentist, a business where they're just like they get volumes of call and they're just trying to book an appointment, hairstylists, different things. The AI agent can be the one to then, book that call. And I don't know if most people are familiar with I forget what the name is, but you are able to use that agent to help you book that. I mean, be the answering call, help you book that call, and then from there you then have automations in addition that's then sending an email once booked, sends a booking confirmation to the customer. And then even after it's been booked, the reminder is sending an email and text reminder to the customer telling them like, hey, you need your appointment is, on this date. And then you're not even having, and then reminder a day before is then sending it. And then once, I think Paul, you even talked about it in terms of, and that could also be included in your workflow is you then, once that job is done and you're trying to get review for that cleaning, you then, once it's closed, it sends like a review for that. So you can even incorporate that in there. And there's a way in, if the customer, in another addition is if the customer is not booking, I mean, let's say they haven't completed that review. Let's say maybe it's like 1 or 3 days. You can then set the automation to again to send a reminder for them to click that review.
How long does it typically take you to set, I know we had talked about it a little bit, but how long does it usually take you to set all this up? I mean,
It doesn't
um,
take that long in terms of like send off the workflow. It doesn't take.
well, I wanted to incorporate that into everything. You were talking about the growth hub. So how long does it take for me to expand? You know, I want to add that, and now that you're talking about the phone call, that wouldn't be a bad idea as well. And what's the price range we're looking at?
The price range for do that, I mean, it varies. It varies in terms of that. Like it's because to do that, you have to first set up. I mean, that's not something that is easy. So it's detailed. Because with the voice agent, you have to set it up. There's a process of setting it up, and then after you setting up is a process. So you would want to charge the customer like a setup fee for that, and then after the setup fee, then you can charge a monthly subscription for that. So it varies. It just depends on the type, customer it is. The customer may have, and depending on the volume of calls that they get. So you would just range it, depending on. I mean, compared to like, you have like a small mom and pop compared to like a call center, they might leave it, the prices may vary, depending. But usually the way the cost is the way it's set up is it will be a setup fee to set up because with the voice agent you have to set up the phone number, set up like train the actual voice agent to do things. So the setup fee is going to be the cost, and then after that you could then do a monthly subscription for that. Does that answer your question? Okay. All right, I love this. This is kind of like, the coaching, like in terms of like how can we look at things in our businesses to what's the bottleneck in the business? Can we think of anything that could be a thing that's in our businesses that can be a bottleneck in the business? Guys are having very good questions. We did, like so far, we've done social media, in terms of going over that, email automations, marketing. Okay, Sophia says marketing. Anything specific on marketing, Sophia? Because it could be like different things. Because the marketing could be, with social media marketing, if you want to set up ads, email campaign, is so many different things with marketing. Do you have like a specific thing in regards to that? Getting new leads. Okay. So with marketing, I mean, it could be different things with marketing. It could be Google Ads that you can set up, and that's also done. I mean, Grow Hub or Go High Level, like I said, is you can use it for everything. So you can set up the ads in Go High Level too, like if you want like Google Ads or like your Facebook or Instagram ads, you could do it that way too as well. Have you ever done Facebook ads or any type of ads? In at all, just like in general. Okay. So sometimes, especially if you have you ever heard of Google My Business? Does anybody here on here have they ever heard of Google My Business? Because that's a different way too to get leads. If one thing that if there's one gem or one nugget I would give you guys today, go open up like a Google My Business if you don't have one for your business. That's how people can find you, and it's a different way. And another thing is Google and let's say for example, like you do things on YouTube and stuff. Google and YouTube are they both know each other. Like that's a way to generate you so people can find you online. That's free advertising right there. So if you do like Google My Business, I would encourage you, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. Do Google My Business. Another one is you can open up like Yelp just in all of these different avenues. I know, most people say, yeah, go Facebook, is good, Instagram is good, but another gem is open up a Google My Business. That stuff, honestly, like you're able to, like people, like just a good way for, like on the internet, especially that's Google. People are then able to know like you're a legitimate business. And in addition to that, you have like, if they Google you, they're seeing you on Google My Business. You have a Google My Business profile. They see you have an Instagram. They see you have a Facebook. Yelp is another one. Another leads one is, I think, Thumbtack, I think is another one that you could do that's for free. So some of this stuff you could do it for free. And I think if you do open a Google My Business, Google does give you free, I forget how much. It gives you like an amount for free so you could do like free ads. So if there's one gem for marketing, open up a Google My Business. And let me put that in the chat. See if I can find a lead. But that's one I would give you. Open a Google My Business tonight. Tonight. But these are good questions. Keep it coming. Like I said, this is casual. We're going straight into like what's a bottleneck in your business that we can solve. So keep it coming, guys. I like this. Encourage you if you could do Google My Business, try to get on that to get like leads in terms of like putting yourself out there. That's like a free marketing thing that it just shows like Google can just show you like if they're searching for things. So I would encourage you to do that for leads. Does that help, Sophia? Yeah, I don't know what happened. All right, good, 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 good. Anybody else have any other? You're welcome. Anybody else have any other bottlenecks that they can think of? Where are you stuck in your business? What's depending on you for stuff that we can get you out the way for it? I love what we've had so far. We've done social media, we've done marketing, we've done automations, we've done how do we get, customer review. This is some good stuff that we've covered here. Is there anything else that anybody we talked about, voice agents. It's so many different things that we can in terms of like where we're stuck in our business that just if we just focus like just on that one thing, sometimes that one thing can even just on should I say is that even a word on stuck or on stick where whatever is like, blocking you. So is there anything else that we can think of? And also, as you know, one thing I would say is as you're, going through these processes, we want to also document everything in the business. So that way you can hand it off like that business also, like I said, my philosophy is you want a business that runs without you. Document all of this stuff. Like for example, once you have that workflow, oh hey Paul, did we lose you? So once you figure out like in terms of like a workflow that is stuck, document it. So that way if you have like if it's because we want a business that scales, you want to document it. So that way if anybody like, if you are out, anybody can come in and just run with it. They don't need to ask. It's basically like a manual for your business. So you want to make sure you're documenting all these processes once you have it in place. So for example, Paul, you had what's the process of, the thing. You want to make sure that that's documented in terms of that workflow. Grace, I think you mentioned in terms of the social media, you want to document like, hey, go high level, and that's what you're documenting is like, this is how that would work. And then, Sophia, you talked about marketing. that's how you would then document like this is how our marketing, this is how manuals are built in terms of like SOP for your business. So that's another way of scaling is like we're also documenting all of these processes so that that way we can see how things, the manual, like the script, the blueprint of how your business can run. So that in case, like, let's say you want to sell your business, this is it. You want to have those things in place. So that way you're able to sell your business. So any other questions? Like I said, these are some great things that we have been covering here tonight, and I love this. I love this. This is what I love to do. I love going over in terms of just like what is how can I be of help? And this is what Proverbs 31 business system does is we build businesses or we help businesses run without you in it. We take you out of the way. So that way you can run without so that business can run without you. So you can focus on, you know, what's more important in life. So is there anything else? And then I don't know, for those who attended the summit, were there things maybe covered in the summit that you would maybe had questions about or just needed maybe more details about? Like when I went there, I know it was, you know, a couple of days ago on Saturday, but I don't know if you had like questions about the presentation or just clarity or just any questions in general. If you could drop it in the chat. Or if you want to come off mute and talk, feel free to do that as well, whatever is comfortable. So we good? No questions? All right. So, you know, we went through this whole process. And this is kind of like what, like I said, what Proverbs 31 business system does. And then we also have a built to run program. So if you want something like this where you're able to go through going through your business, if there's like bottlenecks in your business that we can go through like step by step, I do have a 8 week program called that built to run accelerator program. I think I mentioned it during the AI summit is we go through the bottlenecks that you may be experiencing in your business. And I'm going to drop in the chat if that's something that interests you, that you feel like you want to take your business to the next level, you want to get those bottlenecks out of your business. I'm going to drop in the chat. If you want to sign up for my program, I'm going to put it in the chat. And you know, just take a look at it. It's a small investment. It is an investment of 997 for 8 weeks. You have me, we have one-on-one coaching calls. We go through like in terms of like the bottlenecks in your business that may have bottlenecks in there. And you go through, you can either do, you know, investment of 997 or 3 payments of 397, a payment plan of 397. So just, you know, take a look, you know, feel free if you have any questions about it. If you want to take a look, you could. This will be open till Sunday, and we have 12 seats open for our cohort for this session. So if you want to take a look at it, you know, marinate about it till like where we have until Sunday is when we have to this for this something. And if you have any questions, you know, you could feel free to drop in the chat. If you want to come off mute, if you have any questions and the in the chat, you can do it. I'll be here. But yeah, if you enjoyed like going through like, hey, what's that bottleneck in my business that I want? This is kind of like what we go through at the end of the 8 weeks. You would then have like every bottleneck, and then not say every, but you like bottlenecks in your in your business. We help you walk through. So you know how Paul, you were saying you want to walk through. We will work through with you through that. Is like how can we get that workflow for you? In terms of marketing, you know, you had mentioned we will actually walk through how can we do that. We walk through step by step with you for that. And then Grace, you had mentioned you wanted to walk through for social media. We would walk you through how to do that and we execute that. So we have weekly calls every week for those 8 weeks. So it's like a weekly call we have on there. And then we have like, you know, the videos will be recorded. So just in case you're not able to make it, you will have the recordings for it. as well.
When the classes start, what time would it be?
Say that one more time.
When the classes start, what time would it be?
It's probably going to be like a be so we haven't finalized that just depending on the team. We'll probably vote for a time that would work for everybody. Once we have like our cohort, we'll try to because I want to do a time that would work for, majority of the group. So we'll vote and see what time works for everyone.
Thursday, 7 o'clock.
That works? Okay. Okay. So Thursday 7. So if that what majority of the people want, hey, we'll do Thursdays at 7. That would work. So I guess this time maybe it's setting the tone for the class. All right. If there are no questions, any more questions for it? I know so most of the questions usually people would ask is, like what time would start and then the calls are recorded and then, what kind of business is this for? I feel like it's for most service-based businesses that just in terms of want to run things without them. So it's mostly service-based businesses usually who this is for. All right. If there are no questions, I just want to just thank everyone. I appreciate your time. Like I said, I know this is, during the week. I appreciate your time. You could take your time, I guess, with the link, with the link, just to look it over, think it over, and you have a couple of days till Sunday to take a look at it. And then I will have the recordings of everything. So you would have the recording and I'll have the link to in there as well. So I appreciate your time, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye, everyone.